How do you see your brokenness? Is it something you want to hide, something you wish would disappear? Do you view it as a permanent flaw, a mark that forever defines who you are? Or do you see it as the starting point of a transformation, a necessary process that will lead you to something far greater than you could ever imagine? Today, I want you to understand a fundamental truth that will change your perspective on everything you've gone through and everything you are still facing. Your brokenness is not your end, it is your beginning. You are not doomed because of your past mistakes, your pain, or your struggles. You are positioned perfectly in the hands of a God who knows how to take your broken pieces and make something far more beautiful than you ever thought possible. I know it's hard. I understand the way it feels when the weight of failure, shame, or hurt seems too much to bear. But listen carefully, because I am the God who can transform your brokenness into a masterpiece. Look at the potter and the clay, as I told you in the scriptures. The potter takes a lump of clay, seemingly shapeless and useless, and with careful hands, molds it into something useful, something beautiful. But here's the secret: the clay must be willing to be shaped. It must endure the process, not resisting the hands of the potter. And just like that, you are the clay in my hands, and though you may feel like you are broken, I see the masterpiece that you are becoming. Consider Moses, a man who was once in exile, a fugitive, running from his past, uncertain of his future. Moses was broken. He had doubts, insecurities, fears. But what did I do? I chose him. I didn't discard him. I used his brokenness to shape him into the leader who would bring my people out of Egypt. Moses' brokenness was the very thing I used to fulfill my purpose in his life. The very parts of him that he felt were unworthy became the tools I used to change history. Then there's Joseph, sold into slavery by his brothers, betrayed by those who were closest to him. His life, shattered by betrayal, seemed like a cruel twist of fate. Yet I tell you, Joseph's brokenness was part of the divine plan. His suffering was the very thing that positioned him for greatness. Joseph was in the pit, yes, but his pit was the place where God was preparing him for a throne. His brokenness didn't defeat him, it propelled him toward his destiny. Let's take David as another example. A young shepherd, overlooked by his own family, David wasn't the strongest, the smartest, or the most qualified. But he had a heart after me. When everyone saw him as weak, I saw a warrior. David's brokenness and humility were what made him a king. And from David's line came the ultimate king, the Savior of the world, Jesus Christ. David's brokenness was the bridge that led to salvation. You see, I don't waste your pain. I don't discard your suffering. I use it, I refine it, and I turn it into something far more beautiful than you could ever imagine. Now, think about the woman at the well, John April 7, 26. She was a woman marked by shame, her life filled with broken relationships and the pain of rejection. She came to the well at an hour when no one else would be there, because she didn't want to face the judgment of others. But when she encountered me, her brokenness was no longer something to hide. I saw her heart, not her history. I didn't condemn her. I didn't look at her failures, I looked at her future. She went from being the outcast of society to being the very first to bring my message to her entire town. Her brokenness became the vessel of my living water, the message that would bring others to me. And that's what I will do in your life. I will take your brokenness and use it to bring life to others to the truth of who I am. Consider the cross, where my own body was broken for you, Matthew 27-32-56. The world looked at that moment of pain and suffering and saw defeat. But I tell you, it was through my brokenness that salvation came. It was through my suffering that you were healed. Your brokenness is not a mark of defeat. It is a part of the divine process that leads to victory, healing, and transformation. What appears to be broken is often the very thing that will lead to your greatest victory. And remember the story of Paul, who was once Saul, a man who persecuted my followers. Saul's life was marked by violence, anger, and hatred. He was broken in a way that seemed irreparable, yet I chose him. I transformed him. Saul became Paul, a champion of the gospel. His brokenness became the foundation for the greatest missionary journey the world has ever seen. Paul's story is proof that your past doesn't have to define your future. I can take your most broken parts and make them the source of your greatest purpose. But how does this happen in your daily life? You may be asking, how does this apply to me right here, right now? I tell you, it's in the small moments, in the day-to-day choices, that your transformation happens. Every time you choose to surrender your brokenness to me, you are allowing me to shape you. It's in your quiet moments of prayer, when you bring your pain before me, that I begin to heal and refine you. It's in your daily acts of faith, when you continue to move forward even when it's hard, that I shape you into something beautiful. When you fall, get up. When you fail, try again. Every time you choose to rise despite your brokenness, you are allowing me to build you into something greater. You are not defined by your failures but by how you respond to them. When you allow me to be your strength in your weakness, when you surrender your brokenness to me, I will transform it. And through that transformation, I will use you to change the world around you. I want you to think about the times when you felt overwhelmed, when life seemed to be falling apart. In those moments, remember, I am the one who takes what is broken and makes it whole. You may feel shattered, but I see the possibility of something new. Just like the clay that is softened and molded by the potter's hands, you too are being shaped into something far more beautiful than you ever dreamed. And yes, the process is not always easy. The fire that refines gold is hot, and the journey of transformation can be painful. But remember, through the heat you become stronger. Through the pressure you are being perfected. Your brokenness is not the end. It is the beginning of your healing, your restoration, and your greatest purpose. You may feel like you are in the fire, but trust this, I am with you, refining you, shaping you, preparing you for something far greater. I understand it's hard to believe in the process when you're in the middle of it. When you're in the fire, it's hard to see the beauty in the refining. But remember, the process of being refined is not destruction. It is transformation. Think of gold. Gold is refined through fire. The impurities must be burned away before it can be pure. And like gold, you are being refined. The heat is intense, the pressure is overwhelming at times. But through it, you are becoming something more precious, more valuable. The brokenness you feel, the trials you face, they are not signs of abandonment, they are signs of transformation. So let me ask you again, how do you see your brokenness? Do you see it as a stumbling block, or do you see it as the beginning of your greatest transformation? I'm not finished with you. I will turn your brokenness into a masterpiece. I will make all things new, including you. Trust the process. Surrender your brokenness to me, and let me turn it into something beautiful, something that reflects my glory. You are my masterpiece, and I am not done shaping you yet. Your brokenness is the canvas. My love is the artist. Together we will create something extraordinary.